Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, Volkswagen's back in the news. Apparently they've been given another extension from the U.S. government to try to find a solution to the whole diesel scandal. Now, this particular deal is not the first time Volkswagen's got an extension. The last one would come in probably late April, and apparently Volkswagen, possibly at least a lot of the scuttlebutt on the old internets, claiming that they're not a whole lot closer to figuring out a way around what they already tried to figure out a way around. So we'll keep you in tune if we hear any more about this. Another manufacturer has been in a little bit of trouble has been the folks over at Mitsubishi, who are claiming that they fudged a little bit on the fuel economy numbers for several of their machines over the past several years. Well, apparently it's a lot bigger scale than they were leading us on to believe, at least in the beginning. Especially now they're claiming it was every car that they've ever built since 1991, which is massively impressive. This may be something that Mitsubishi is going to have a hard time living down. Not to mention the Volkswagen folks having a hard time living their deal down as well. But weirdly impressive how many of this stuff is coming out, at least now. You may remember this particular little concept art piece. The folks over at Red Bull Racing and Aston Martin are building a hypercar together. It's actually going to be pinned by many-time world champion engineer and designer Adrian Newey. Mr. Newey apparently is designing this car that's a lot of rumors saying that it's going to be under 3,000 pounds and have well over 1,000 brake horsepower. At least that's what the rumors are floating around as. Well, apparently another little rumor that's interestingly floating about is the fact that this car's already made its debut. In private, kind of. It was actually done apparently at the Monaco Grand Prix, where a full-size actual model of this machine was shown off to potential customers. Now, these customers are pretty elite, and the fact that they may have been at the Monaco Grand Prix is probably it's not a terrible place to go show off a car like this, especially in secret with this kind of money that possibly could change hands, because there's a lot of rumors that this car could cost upwards of $5 million or just a touch under. They haven't said as of yet how many of these they're actually going to build or when they will actually make their debut. But apparently there's a full-blown, full-size, full-scale model that's floating around somewhere that's supposedly 60, 70, 80% of the solid form of what this car is going to be. There'll be some alterations probably in post, so we'll keep you in tune if we hear any more. Hopefully Paris Motor Show will actually get to see this prototype machine. Next up on the list, I said that Ford was probably not going to be able to do this, but they have. Yes, the day of the taping of this program was the day of the ending of the 24 Hours of Le Mans at Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans, France. Ford Performance and Ford Motor Company, I tip my hat to you. Huge congratulations. This team really kind of didn't exist, at least in fully form, about this time last year. Did some minor development in the back part of the year. A lot of testing. Then the vehicle actually went out and did a handful of races and did okay, won one of them. But apparently, this is exactly what you've got to do if you're trying to go to Le Mans, because a lot of sandbagging is done over the year. You think back at the 24 Hours of Daytona, if you watch that particular race, the brand new GT3 Lamborghini Huracan was actually lapping at such rapid rate. The next race, they got slammed with a massive performance penalty. Well, the folks over at Ford apparently were kind of flying under the radar with this machine. Didn't want to go out and dominate races and then have a huge penalty coming into Le Mans. And they brought a full court press into this event. 4 full-blown race cars in the hands of some of the best race car drivers on the planet. The machine didn't go without its problems. It did have a couple of problems here and there. They actually dominated qualifying, as it were, and were slammed with a pretty hefty performance penalty. The beautiful thing about Circuit de la Sarthe, it's basically a momentum or a high-speed course, so it really doesn't hurt you to have a big weight penalty on these particular machines. So they absolutely dominated the race. Had a nice little fight with the folks over Ferrari, i.e. from back in 1966. Yes, 50 years on, and the Ford Motor Company's back in the winner's circle at the Le Mans 24-hour race. The race was just absolutely, well, it was mind-boggling. Sadly, I didn't get to see the actual finish of it, but it was just devastating for the folks over at Toyota. With just 6 minutes left in the event, their power unit started to fail. The car actually came to a full stop right in front of the start-finish line with just a minute ahead of their rivals at Porsche. The folks over at Toyota were just dumbfounded that this deal actually happened. Can you imagine taking 23 hours and 55 minutes of a race and end up with a failure with just a handful of minutes left, with only 3 minutes left? Now you're sitting on the start straight, and the Porsche comes whistling past. The folks over at Porsche, a huge win. This was obviously a big gift for the folks over at Toyota, I guess you could say. So they had to be there to actually win this thing. So absolutely one of the most amazing finishes in Le Mans history. That is for sure. Next up on the list, let's talk about this machine, the Bugatti Chiron, who's going to make its official European debut at next week's Goodwood Festival of Speed. Yes, the old Chiron's going to make a lap up the hill at Lord March's grounds. This is going to be fantastic, and it's going to be in that supercar lineup. So it's going to be taking on the likes of the Ferrari LaFerrari, and apparently they're going to also have a McLaren P1 at the event as well. There's going to be a ton of other supercars. We're just a week away, at least of the taping of this particular program, from the Goodwood Festival of Speed. It is going to be shown live over the interwebs, so guarantee you can be like me and just veg out all day on all the stuff that's going to be hammering up the hill at Goodwood. It's going to be a heck of an event. Last up on the list, let's talk about Mr. Chris Harris. Definitely the person who I thought was probably the most capable of taking Top Gear into the future. I haven't been the world's biggest fan of him in the show, at least in the actual in-studio segments. He seems to be a little bit out of place, but it is going to take some time for him to get going. That being said, he's going to have his brand new actual internet show back, and again, you may know Chris Harris on Cars. Well, this particular show is going to morph into a one just on the Top Gear website called Chris Harris Driving. Not the world's greatest actual name, but when you put Chris Harris behind the wheel with a camera right on him, he's one of the best in the business. So this is going to be a heck of a little internet show. It's going to be a big boom for the Top Gear website as well. So cannot wait for this thing to come out. It's just been announced. Haven't said exactly when it's going to start up, but I'm assuming it's going to be very soon. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.